Okay. Okay. Well, hi, Joe. What brings you in today?
Well, I've been having some trouble with my husband. We've been fighting a lot. I just feel like things aren't going well.
What do you feel isn't going well?
I just feel like we keep arguing. I really just feel like we're not even hanging out anymore. I just feel like we're growing apart. And I just feel like things aren't going well. We used to hang out all the time, and now it just feels like, we just live together. And we're not even married anymore, I almost feel like.
Okay. Are there any specific issues that you're having issues with?
Well, I mean, I really feel like for the last 2 years we've been trying to get pregnant, and it's just been really hard on the relationship. We've had a few miscarriages, and I just feel like he doesn't want to blame me. I don't want to blame him. We don't have the money to, go see a specialist about it, and we just keep trying, thinking, it's going to happen. I feel like it's almost ruining the relationship because we both just want to be parents so bad.
So, you've been trying for 2 years and you've had a few miscarriages, and it sounds like it's been very hard for you and your husband, and it's taking a toll on your relationship. Is that right?
Yeah, I just feel like we get so excited. It's been a few times we make it, just barely outside the first trimester. And so we usually, once you get past the first trimester, you feel like you're able to, tell everyone. So we've told, parents and friends, and we've made it public. And then, just all of a sudden we have a miscarriage and we lose it. And, the first time it was like, it was sad, but it was like, okay, well, we can keep trying. But then after the second and third time, it just kept feeling like the cycle wasn't going to end. And we really haven't talked about it. I feel like, I don't know if really embarrassed is the word, or, and just, we really just want to be parents, and we just really feel like it shouldn't be this hard. But it seems like for us, that's how it's going to be. So I just really don't know where we should go from here.
I understand that can be very difficult and frustrating for a young couple to be going through such a
Yeah,
thing.
and I feel like because we don't talk about it, it just keeps building up and building up. So, like, even though we keep fighting, it's not really about the fighting. I think it's more the fact that we've kind of pulled away from each other, and that we just don't want to, like, communicate, because the biggest issue we aren't addressing. And, it's a medical issue almost. Like, so it's like, where do we go from here? We don't really have the money to go talk to someone about it, and we're just not really sure, how to make it work.
For clarification, have you gone and, when you say you don't have the means to go to specialists, do you mean like testing him and testing you? Just what do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like because we are getting pregnant, it's not his fault. It has to be something wrong with me. Because obviously we're getting pregnant. It's just maybe my body can't handle it, can't hold it long enough. I mean, we've never gotten a clear answer when we go to doctors. It's kind of like, oh, these things happen. And it's like, well, after the third one, it's like, well, these things don't just happen. Can we kind of like, is it something with me? Do I need to start, looking other, ways of having children? Or is this something that, if you just keep trying, it's going to. So I just feel like there's also some frustration with the doctors and with, like, the healthcare, because they're not giving us clear answers. They just kind of, like, are all busy and just expect that we know what's going on.
So you don't be getting clear answers, so you almost don't know which way to turn
Yeah.
to look for.
And I know we
help.
don't have the money because, infertility doctors I don't think are covered by insurance. So all of that's out of pocket. So we don't really have the money for that. But if it was just something, that obviously isn't that intense as going that way, there might be ways we could go. And I feel like I've reached out to doctors and they're just not giving, an answer to the issues. They just kind of, and so now instead of us addressing this issue, we're taking out on each other.
I hear you saying that it's obviously your fault, that obviously there's something wrong with you, but also you're saying that your doctors haven't been giving you clear answers. So I'm hearing a bit of a disconnect there. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess I never really thought about it that way, that I'm blaming myself. I guess nobody's ever really said it was my fault, and I guess it's not really somebody's fault. It just kind of happens. So I guess maybe to start with, I should stop blaming myself and stop
Mhm.
putting the pressure on myself because, it isn't really, technically my fault. It's just something that, happens. I just feel like maybe it would be easily acceptable if we just could get the clear answers on why it's happening. And I know that since it is medical, just how it happens, but I just feel like maybe if we could find a way to talk about it and like get it cleared up and get the stress out of the way and get
Mhm.
things, when we first started trying, it was like, fun. We weren't stressed. It wasn't, and now it's gotten to the point where it's almost like a chore. Like it's not fun. We avoid each other because we don't want to like. One, we don't want to talk about it.
Mhm.
It's just something that's been going on for 2 years, and it's just like we got it to the point where we just blame each other and this build up stress. And I mean, I don't really know how he feels on the subject because we haven't talked about it. But I mean, I know that I blame myself because that it hasn't happened. And I guess you're right that we really shouldn't blame one or the other. We should really, look to see where we can go from here instead of just blaming each other and ruining the relationship and seeing, where things can go.
So I know you haven't really, you haven't really talked with your husband about it, but do you ever really wonder what he's feeling in all this?
Yeah, he almost kind of just brushes it off, like, oh, it'll happen when it happens. I feel like, that it's not stressing him out as much as it's stressing me out. Um, Almost makes me mad. And I feel like that might be where a lot of our fights and kind of come from is he has to, sometimes he'll make a joke about it. Um, and it's like, it's not funny. Maybe it's just funny to you, but like, so it's just really hard that I feel like he isn't taking it seriously. I feel like is how I feel sometimes, and that I'm the only one taking it serious. I'm the only one taking it hard, and I'm the only one blaming myself. And I know he wants to be a parent, but I think if we could just talk about it, and I think he'd honestly be okay if it didn't happen. I think I'm the one who's not okay if it doesn't happen, and it's not. I think almost I push him away because I think maybe he is better off, with someone else who can, give him a family and give him other stuff that I know he wants. But I don't know if, that's the most important thing to him. But I just feel like he'd be better off if he would just, move on, go find someone else, and I could just be by myself, and not have the pressure anymore of trying to, have a family and do all this stuff because it is what I've always wanted. But I just kind of feel like after these last 2 years, it's gotten to the point where I just don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And it's, I feel like I've let a lot of people down, is kind of how I feel.
Was this a family? Was this something that was very important to you too at one point, and it just feels like it's more
Yeah.
drifted from there?
I mean, like, my grandma says all the time, like, you better hurry up before I die and have some grandkids.
Mhm.
And that just puts a lot of pressure on me. I mean, at first, it was kind of, funny because we didn't have this issue. Now it's getting to the point where we can't, we are getting to the point where we don't even know we can have kids. And so it's like, I'd love to give you grandkids, but it's just not working out that way. And so it's just frustrating, that everyone has their little jokes and digs. And it's like, okay, it's not funny after 2 years of it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I got it. Everyone wants to be grandparents. I want to be parents, and it's just frustrating that sometimes I feel like they mean well, but that it's really just putting even more stress on me. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. I understand when I first started seeing my husband, it was a lot of I want to be a grandma. So from his mother. So I get the pressure there, but so my question before, you kind of answered it, but you kind of went off to the family more. But this, having a family with your husband, is this something that you guys wanted, and do you still want it so badly that you're willing to keep trying, or do you think this is it? I guess I don't really know where you guys are at here.
I feel like we do want a family. It's something we do want to keep trying, but with all the stress that is building up, the anxiety, it's almost maybe best that we do take a step back from it and work on each other and not worry about you know reading the cycles and when's the next time you ovulating and not making it so scientific where it's like we have to on this day and on that day we have to, and you know what I mean? It's like we need to just take a step back and be like, this isn't supposed to be that serious. Along the way you're supposed to, I guess, have some. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be, about a relationship, and it's got to the point where it's almost tearing us apart, and it's not bringing us together like it's supposed to be. I mean, at first it brought us together. We were so excited. I just feel like we've been let down, so many times over this last 2 years that it's like I don't know if we can, handle another letdown. And so it's almost to the point where it's like, I'm like, oh, please be negative so we don't have to go through another, you know what I mean, another negative or another miscarriage and another letdown. It's almost if it just doesn't happen again, we don't have to, get the excitement and get let down. Because if it just doesn't happen, we don't get excited. We don't get to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, we're going to be parents. And then you get let down. When it just doesn't happen, it's something I feel like I'm okay with. But when it gets to that point where I'm like, oh my god, this is the time. It's going to happen this time. And then I keep getting let down after let down. It's like you just start to take it on yourself. And you start to feel like, wow, this really is my fault. And wow, I'm never going to have this. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like the cycle just keeps like, and as it keeps happening, the stress keeps piling on. And it's like, it's ruining the relationship. It's ruining everything. You know what I mean? It's like, how do we take a step back and say, you know what? We don't want to do this anymore. What we really do. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know where we should go on from here.
So it sounds like you more want to take time off from trying to have children and almost revisiting the relationship you had before you started trying. Yeah. And kind of building your relationship back up.
Mm-hmm. Or even if it's just, just having fun and not saying, like, we're trying. But if it happens, it happens. And okay. Just, live like a married couple. Go out and have dates again. I mean, we just avoid each other. We're, we literally don't want to, we go on dates. We talk about this. You know what I mean? We go to family events. They talk about this. When are you gonna get me grandkids? My brother's gay. He's not gonna bring any. You know what I mean? Grandchildren. His younger sister is single and isn't even talking to anyone. She's not bringing me grandchildren. It's just so much pressure on when are you bringing me the grandchild, and it's just like. I don't think she understands that it's just adding more stress, and it's like making, I feel like, almost to the point where I physically have so much stress that this is probably half the reason I keep having miscarriages.
That possibly could be.
And it's just like, the first one, maybe it was a total accident, but I feel like it's the fact that these miscarriages keep happening and the stress that keeps coming on with it. Because the doctors literally keep you physically are able, and they look at everything, there's nothing wrong with you, you physically should be able to, have a child, and we're not sure how to explain why you keep having miscarriages. And I really feel like the first one might have been a fluke, but it has snowballed into such a thing that it's almost to the point where I don't know if we're even ever going to have kids. We don't want to, hang out out anymore. We don't want to do anything anymore. It's just like, any excuse where, oh, I'm going out with the guys. Oh, I'm going to my mom. Like, just so we don't have to talk about it or, like, deal with it. I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Okay. Have you ever, I know you guys have probably this is probably going to be a no, but have you ever talked about the idea of not having biological children, of adopting?
We haven't really got to that point yet. We've really always wanted to have our own, but honestly, down the line, I guess I think if the doctor would say, we just don't think that you can have kids, that would be better than saying we don't know why you keep having miscarriages.
So you want more confirmation that having a biological child
isn't gonna happen.
Certain.
Yeah.
Is certain.
And then I think we might move towards, adoption and stuff like that. But it's the fact that the doctors keep saying, like, you're perfectly healthy, you're perfectly fine. And we have no, explanations for why you keep having miscarriages. During our first miscarriage, there was kind of an accident. And so, like, that one, like I said, was a fluke. Something did happen. But all the ones after that, there's been nothing to explain why we're having a miscarriage. So it's just hard, because the first one was going so well, and just we kind of had an accident, and ever since then, it's like they can't explain why we keep having miscarriages.
This first miscarriage that you had, you said there was an accident. Can you talk more about what happened?
Yeah,
Okay.
Around like 6 months, there was a car accident.
Okay.
And obviously I lost it on the spot. And so, getting all the way to like, I think it was 6, 7 months, like we were almost to the end, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And after that miscarriage, they said it didn't affect anything, that physically, you should be able to have another one, move on. And it was really hard at first, just because it was so far along to move on, but it was just really difficult that now we made it, like we were almost there. Yeah. And then now we get to like this 3rd month and we lose them, and they can't explain why we keep losing them. So I feel like all that stress and everything just keeps piling, and it almost like I regret, like, it wasn't my fault that we got in a car accident, but it's like, could have just been somewhere else,
Right.
Could just be 1 second earlier, so that we could have, had that first child. And I feel like, everything would be so much better. My marriage would be better. We wouldn't be like on the rocks. And it's just hard to keep thinking, back to that first pregnancy. And we were just so close. And I almost feel like someone took that away from me. Like, I almost feel like I was robbed. And I just kind of feel like I keep, like, it took me a while to get over that first loss. And I finally was able to accept it, and I just kind of felt like it just keeps compounding, you know what I mean? Just because it's not happening. And I think I would have been, it was hard. It's hard when you lose someone, especially that far along. But it's just really difficult to think that it's affected my life this much. Do you know what I mean? That if we could have done something different, that we wouldn't be in this, situation. I really just want to do something to change the way things are going.
I couldn't imagine losing a child that far, like at all, let alone that far into a pregnancy. Did you and your husband seek any counseling, or what did you guys do as a couple to?
Yeah, we went to
get over that.
And it took us a while to get over it, and we just finally, you have to accept it. Some things are out of your control and you can't, but what I think is hurting us the most is we got pregnant so easy on the first one, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we were just expecting, like, it was hard, but we're going to move on from this, and we're going to, trying, and it's like 2 years later, and it's like it's been 2 years since that accident. Not, so it's almost been 3 years, I guess, since we've been trying, and I just feel like we're not going anywhere. And it's just, I think the hardest part is knowing that doctors can't say like, oh, due to your accident is why you can't, you know what I mean? And I think we would be okay with that. We could like come to terms with it. It's more of the fact that they say you're perfectly healthy and we can't explain why these miscarriages keep happening is I think what the hardest part is. It's like, so then we kind of keep forcing ourselves to keep trying and keep to the schedule and keep to this and keep to that. And it's like taking all the fun out, I just wish we could go back to have fun again.
Okay, so you keep saying about going back to having fun again. So, from my understanding, that's more before you were seriously trying and on this schedule and keeping with your cycles and all that. What did you and your husband do, to have fun? And what were you guys doing that kept you so close before you started trying?
Yeah. I mean, we just would be able to joke around, have fun. When we went to dinner, it wasn't about, trying. It was just about, we would talk about how things were, how our day went, things like that. It wasn't, I feel like every conversation is about, trying, and then we have a lot of money conversations, like, can we make this work? Can we go speak to an infertility doctor? Can we do this? Can we do that? And it's like, gets to the point where it's like, okay, I'm just done. You know what I mean? I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to talk about infertility doctors. I don't want to get to the point where I'm too old to have kids, so we keep trying, but it's just, I feel like we're getting to a point where it's just seems like we're getting in a cycle where, like I said, we don't want to see a positive pregnancy. That first one, we were so excited. We thought everything was going so well, and then now it's just like, oh God, here's another one. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like instantly that stress comes, and I do everything that you're supposed to do. You get on your prenatals, you do this, you do that, and then it's just like a big letdown again. And then it's kind of almost like a reminder of like what we lost, you know what I mean, during that first pregnancy. And it just seems like it keeps happening. It's like a nightmare that just keeps happening over and over and over again and just keeps going. And it's like, when do I wake up? When does the nightmare stop?
But is there something you think you and your husband could almost rekindle from before trying that almost get the conversation at least shifted slightly? So to stop the conversation being such baby talk and almost gradually move back to the way
I feel
you
like
were?
the biggest problem isn't him, it's me.
Okay.
Like, I just feel like I have trouble letting it go, and
Okay.
I'm having trouble moving on because I really do want to be a parent, and I honestly just wish they would say you can't be a parent, and I think then I could accept it and move on. But just the fact that they keep saying, oh, just keep trying, it's gonna happen, and it's just like starting to take a toll on, he doesn't have to do much. I have to do, like, I feel like, I'm the one who carries them for 3 months and then loses them. It's hard on me. It's not really hard on him because he didn't have that same bond. He didn't carry the child for 3 months. It's more of he's kind of, I feel like for guys, they don't have that bond until the child's born. So when they lose one, it's not the same as when I lose one. And I know because we were so far along with that one, that was an accident that it affected him as well. But the other one since then hasn't affected him the same way it's affected me. Because he hasn't, like the physical bond, you were sick for, feeling sick for 3 months and all that stuff. And it's like you didn't get anything out of it. And it just continually, you get to go through your first trimester over and over and over again. It's like a bad nightmare that keeps happening.
Yes. And it takes a toll on the mother physically. As well as emotionally, since you have it going through a miscarriage. It's hard on the body. But it sounds like you almost are hesitant to try to go back to the way things were before you started trying because you haven't gotten any closure on
Yeah.
why you're having all these miscarriages. It's almost like, from what I hear, it's like you want some kind of sound answer
Yeah,
before you can make a decision on what to do from there.
I agree. I just feel like we're kind of in this never-ending first trimester, and it's like I just want to get out of the first trimester. Like I just don't want to deal with this anymore. But the thing is, I can't stop because I haven't been told like you physically can't do this anymore. Like physically, we just don't think that. We think you need to take time off, or if they would just say that, I think. But because they don't say that, they keep saying everything looks good. You know, keep going, keep trying, and it's like okay. So then I keep telling him like, okay, come on, we can keep trying, we can keep trying. It's possible. If they would, I think, just say, you know what, it's probably not going to happen right now. I think I'd be okay hearing that, but it's the fact that I keep hearing, keep going. You can keep doing it. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, it doesn't look like it's that way. But because they keep saying that naturally your body looks like you can handle it, there's no reason you can't. It's just like we keep trying. And I just really wish they would just say, you know, I don't think you can do it. And I would be like, okay, I think I can accept it and move on. But it's the fact that they keep saying, everything looks good, keep going, that it's like, I keep going. Even though it's ruining my marriage. Even though it's ruining, you know, I don't want to go see my mother-in-law because she wants to talk about, you know, when's my grandkids coming. And I just feel like if they could just say that, I might be able to be like, you know what? You're right. I can't do this. But with them keep saying you can, it's kind of like, okay, you're right, I can. But I don't think emotionally I can keep doing it, even if physically. I guess I didn't really think about that.
Crap. So it sounds like whenever you get all this stress, you then seem to take it out on your relationships with others. Does that seem right?
Yeah, I guess that's right. And I know it's especially with my husband, but I think I've even done it with like my mother-in-law. I think I've kind of snapped back a few times when she said, "Oh, I can't wait to have my grandbabies or whatever." I kind of snapped at her, and it's kind of gotten to the point where I don't want to go over there, but I don't know if she even wants me to go over there because I've kind of gotten to the point where like she knows like I'm stressed about it, and she didn't. I don't think mean to hurt my feelings, and it's kind of gotten to the point where it's like I took the stress out on her, even though she didn't mean to be hurtful on what she said. So maybe I shouldn't be so overly emotional about it. And then, I mean, it's really hurt me and my husband's relationship because like I snap at him all the time. I feel like all the time we want to talk about is money and if we could go see a specialist, can we fit that in? And then if we're not talking about money and seeing a specialist, we're talking about what we can do when the next cycle is and blah 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 blah. Like I'm so sick of hearing about the pregnancy cycles and everything that I think I could see the cycles in my sleep. Like I probably should become a gynecologist that I'm like that well equipped in the cycles. So I just feel like because of all this stress, I've directed the conversation to always be about something that's not fun, and it's turned into like a chore. Like and he always says like, "Quit nagging me. I don't want to hear about it anymore." And it's like I just feel like that I keep going on and on and on about it, and taking the stress and taking my stress and trying to put it on someone else, and it's like they just push it back on me. But it's I just feel like I keep trying to get rid of it, but it just keeps coming right back.
You said that it sounded, or that you make it a chore. This, watching your cycles and planning and talking about the money and the specialists. Have you ever thought about maybe trying to take a step back to before your first pregnancy and trying to make getting pregnant fun and more of an adventure again, like it was the first time?
I guess I really haven't thought about that. Maybe, that's emotionally where I need to be is, not trying to plan everything and not trying to put myself in a bubble and not trying to take my stress from all these miscarriages and put them on someone else. I just really need to like let it go and try to, have fun and not worry about, is it going to be a positive one next time? And instead just wait till my body says it is and, instead of every month taking a test.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like just relax, let it go. Let's see where, things go. I really feel like maybe you're right that I need to quit micromanaging everyone around me and myself and just let things go.
So I'm thinking for next session, some things I'd like you to try.
Okay.
I would like one thing for you to go out, either stay in for dinner or go out and dinner with your husband and try to make it fun again. And I mean that by not talking about the cycle, not talking about a pregnancy or money or specialist. Find the things you talked about beforehand. Try to just make it fun again, like I said, and maybe not talking about the stressors will help calm you down and things like that. Do you think that's something you could do? I was also thinking maybe not everyone likes it. It seems a little silly, but maybe journaling your thoughts when maybe these conversations come up with your mother-in-law or your husband, journaling afterwards the thoughts you have and the frustrations, and same thing after your date where you don't talk about these things. Journal how you feel and anything you want, and then you can bring that back, and that's where we can pick up next week and we can talk about the journals and how your date or a couple dates, if it goes well, how those went with your husband.
I think that sounds good. I don't know how the journaling's going to go, but I'm willing, just to see how the emotions write down and maybe we can get something out of it. I'm just not going to put too much stress on it. So
Right.
We'll just see what I can get emotion-wise and see if we can use it next. But I think that's a good idea. And